I hope that, this session, you guys definitely going to, keep in mind the fact that, two major entrance exams are already through for you guys. And now you have the last one coming up. And I'm sure you guys must be planning for party after that, for the fact that, yes, the last entrance exam. Oh, the last important entrance exam. Then I'm sure you have got IP and other entrances also. But yes, one of the major entrance is going to get over on 12th. So today we are going to discuss few test taking strategies. Let me tell you guys that every student must be having a different pattern of practicing for preparatory courses. So today whatever we are going to discuss on the basis of what usually, all right, a student have found out to be a little easy and a little convenient while preparing for these entrance examinations. So I am expecting loads of questions from you guys pertaining to how you should be attempting and any other nitty-gritty worries that you guys have got pertaining to solving of these entrance exam and getting through one. So to begin with, I would first specify one thing that, as you guys are aware of the pattern, we have got 200 questions, all right, given to you for a time span of 2 hours, which is 120 minutes. So I hope you can understand that, the time management is going to be little similar to that of the NLU Delhi entrance examination pattern, all right, unlike SET, which had given you ample number of, minutes to ponder upon one particular question. Here, this is going to be a little challenging factor for the reason that you have got too many number of questions for the lesser number of time. All right, I just have a question. One, what would be the cutoff with negative marking? Definitely, we are going to discuss such questions, but I would request you guys to be a little patient to at least, understand the breakup of time and the time management first, and then probably we'll go into the cutoff, because cutoff is anyways going to be pretty it's very subjective depending upon the test. So maybe the appropriate answer for this particular question will come out on 12th, all right, that is after we are through, after you guys are through with the entrance exam and after we have analyzed the paper and then decide on the cutoff. So cutoff is going to be probably the best answer with regards to this question. Cutoff for negative marking with negative marking in CLAT will be best suitably answered on 12th. But I can definitely tell you one thing, that last year, that is in 2012, when CLAT was without negative marking, the cutoff went to around 120, all right, and the highest marks was 156. So there was a gap of around 30 marks from the cutoff and the highest marks that had been obtained in this particular entrance exam last year. What we can expect is that the highest mark, definitely I'll keep that untouched, because be it with negative marking or without negative marking, we have many students who are preparing for these entrance examination in full swing. And it's not just about entrance examination, also what we call the 5% luck factor definitely works in their favor. So in that circumstance, we cannot say the cutoff would go any lower than what it was usually seen to be. So we keep the cutoff to be constant, all right. It should go somewhere around 156 to 160 like it had been in most of the years. But yes, the cutoff range from the highest marks will definitely be a little more wider than it had been last year. Like I told you, there was a gap of around 30 marks last year, which is probably going to increase by say another 10 to 15 marks this year, considering we have got negative marking introduced this year. So I believe that is going to answer the question of the attendee who had asked me this particular question. So Next, we shall definitely in this particular session discuss about the time management factor first. All right. So all the attendees who have got pertinent questions with regards to time management of this entrance, CLAT entrance examination, you may please put forward your questions. To begin, I should say that you guys know that you have got 5 sections, right? English, logical reasoning, mathematics, general knowledge, and GK. And I believe you guys are also aware that your legal aptitude section is going to act as your tiebreaker in case of two students getting same marks. All right. So a little stress definitely will have to be given for legal aptitude section. Okay, and you guys will also have to be very cautious while answering this question paper this year for the fact that you have got negative marking introduced. The practice of answering or at least marking the answers for all the questions that we have adopted in the previous 2 entrance examination like in NLU Delhi and Symbiosis is not going to work this time with CLAT. The strategy is going to be a little different for the fact that you have got negative marking introduced. I believe I'm audible to most of you. Sorry, there are certain network problem at times, so in case you guys are not being able to hear me, then please let me know. Okay, this is to Kudrat Agarwal. Please check your connections pertaining to the microphone and the earphone settings at your end. Are you guys being able to hear me? A quick response, please. All right. Okay. That's great. I believe, Kudrat, you will just have to check with the computer settings at your end. Okay? All right. So I would first go about with the rough time distribution that we believe. All right. Okay. I have a question over here. What would be the pattern for legal aptitude? All right. Yes, Alan, we are going to discuss that in details. But first, I would want to discuss the breakup of the time. All right, pertaining to this entrance examination. So. As you guys know that we have got 5 sections in this particular entrance exam, right? Ranging from English to reasoning to mathematics, legal aptitude, and general knowledge, right? So this is a rough estimation pertaining to what we have seen that okay, just a moment. I'll just set up the whiteboard to make it accessible for you guys. Please wait a moment. I'll just check the setting of the whiteboard and we'll make it accessible to you guys so that you can see what I'm writing in the whiteboard. Okay. Okay. So this is what is going to be the time division. All right. This is the rough time estimation. All right, for you guys. I believe you guys are being able to see what is being put up in the whiteboard. All right. If you guys are not being able to access the whiteboard, then you guys may just let us know. Legal aptitude, considering it is one of the most essential and important, part of your this particular entrance examination, a time span of around 30 to 35 minutes. Okay, I'm sorry, you cannot afford more than 35 minutes in legal aptitude. So 30 to 35 minute is going to be the time range. LA is going to be for 30 to 35 minutes, and thereafter we are going to check with general knowledge. Please make sure that you guys are not wasting any time with general knowledge beyond 15 minutes, because it is very clear this year that either general knowledge will be pertaining to such areas which you are aware of, else it's going to be pertaining to such areas which you are not aware of. So there is no point wasting time in your general knowledge section. Alright, general knowledge should be given a maximum of 15 minutes. You cannot afford to give more than 15 minutes. Okay, so I will just put it up in the whiteboard over here. Legal aptitude is going to be for around 30 to 35 minutes, depending upon how fast you are with regards to attempting questions. Then we go to general knowledge. General knowledge, not more than 15 minutes. Please keep this in mind. Even if there is a question which is faintly something that you remember, something that you recall, but you're not certain pertaining to the answer, then please make sure you're not answering that question, because this year you should keep it in mind that for every wrong answer you will be penalized by 0.25 marks. 0.25 may sound a little too less, alright, but trust me, it's not a meager marks, alright. 0.25 is going to decide in which particular college in CLAT you are going to go to, alright. So the entire, decision of going to one particular college of your choice just be ruined for the fact that you have chosen a wrong answer and have lost out on 0.25. So choosing of an answer pertaining to GK section is going to be very, very you guys will have to be very cautious while answering the questions. So make sure that answers which you are not too sure of, you are actually not marking it. Okay. Of course, you can use elimination method. All right. Even for general knowledge, elimination method could be used, but I can understand the constraint. Elimination method could only be used when you're sure of all the other 3 answers, right? When you know that amongst the 4 answers you're being able to eliminate at least 3. Even if you're being eliminated 2, even then you have a probable chance of using your guesswork. But if you're not being able to do that, all right, then you know that you have 75% of chances of making a mistake with that particular answer. Under that circumstance, refrain, all right, because losing out on 0.25 marks, alright, it's always better to not to lose out any marks with respect to 0.25 marks, alright. So please make sure that answers which you are not pretty sure of, you will not attend those answers. Okay. In this way, I understand that the number of answers you are attempting may go less. Okay, may go lower in numbers, but doesn't matter as long as the other answers which you are marking, all right, you are sure of, all right. So obviously you are going to catch up in that marks and not lose out on any 0.25 marks. So general knowledge, please restrict yourself to a time span of 15 minutes. Thereafter we go to logical reasoning. Okay, logical reasoning, again, considering the section goes a little lengthy, you will have to give around 25 to 30 minutes, because beyond that I don't think you will be able to manage out the remaining section. So what we have analyzed here is that logical reasoning is good enough to be solved within a time span of 25 to 30 minutes. Okay, so please make sure that you are solving logical reasoning within a time span of 25 to 30 minutes. I hope that you guys have been practicing during your mock test. Also, you guys have been adopting this time breakup system, because that's the only way by which you can probably be cracking this entrance exam. The level of question may not be difficult, but yes, the time management becomes really difficult. For math section, 25 to 20 minutes maximum, because you cannot be taking mathematics lightly. I hope you guys have understood this in the event of giving so many mock tests and getting the rankings for the mock test. You will have to be really careful with mathematics, alright? This is especially to those students who hate maths. I'm sure there must be students who hate maths and just can't stand maths, but this is probably the last time you are appearing for an entrance exam which would have mathematics in it, and beyond that, once you are in a law school, you would definitely not have to encounter maths. And don't hate maths so much, because anyways this is going to decide, you know, your future in a law school. So for mathematics, you know, earlier we always used to suggest a time bracket of 10 to 15 minutes, because you can also do guesswork, but this time we are not suggesting so, and we are telling you that, you know, 25 to 20 minutes, 20 to 25 minutes maximum will have to be given for mathematics, because at least the ones that you know, mathematics is such a kind of a section which is definitely going to help you out with regards to, like, you know, scoring in the paper. So even if, like, you know, you are not very confident with the entire sections, all right, of mathematics, there are certain aspects of mathematics which usually come in your paper you should be aware of. Like, say for example, topics from ratio proportion, ratio, averages, time and work, all right, all problems, all right, you know it for sure that definitely, you know, 2 or 3 questions will come from this particular segment of mathematics or of arithmetic in maths, right? So ratio, proportion, be well you know, prepared with. Then percentage questions with regards to profit and loss, simple interest, compound interest, all right. Again, a total of around, like, you know, 2 to 3 questions definitely will come from percentage, okay. Time, speed, distance, and set theory, all right. These are again, you know, an easier section of mathematics, which will help you to, like, you know, increase your marks in this entrance examination, because you have other sections which go really dicey, especially general knowledge, right? So now, if you're losing out marks on general knowledge for the fact that you are not aware of the answer, then you will anyways have to pick up on the marks in other sections, and that's the reason why I'm telling you, please do not neglect maths. All right. Stress upon the arithmetic section. Questions from ratio, average, time and work, profit and loss, simple interest, compound interest, time, speed, distance, all right, set theory. These are, like, you know, important aspects of your mathematics section, which you should be prepared, because there are, like, you know, 50% of question in the math section, which is around 10 marks, will definitely be revolving around, you know, concepts of arithmetic in maths. So you should know them. Mensuration, yes, mensuration is again another section which is more of, like, you know, memorizing the formula. Don't try to, like, you know, apply any logic, just memorize the formula. I'm sure, like, you know, in classroom you guys must have had ample number of practice sessions given to you with regards to this aspect of mathematics, that is mensuration. So memorize the formula and go, because you will just have to understand the problem and make use of the formula. So there's no, like, you know, tough run in this particular section. So mensuration is something which, like, you know, you should be preparing well from the aspect, from the point of view of your entrance exam. Then of course numbers and algebra, all right. These are the few sections which are, like, you know, easier to comprehend, easier to practice, and also to, like, you know, do it in the day of your exam. So these subjects of maths you should know well, okay. And yes, then you have probability, permutation, combination, questions from geometry. If you are really weak, alright, if you're really weak in mathematics and you are just not ready to attempt any question in mathematics, only then should I suggest that, you know, if you're practicing a little less on these aspects, probability, geometry, permutation, combination, it is okay. But I'm not asking you to not to do these you know, chapters, because these are important, as you know. But yes, if you're weak in math, then please stress upon arithmetic part of it, all right. The subjects, the topics which I already mentioned, I will repeat it once again for you guys who just joined. Ratio, proportion, which includes questions from ratio, average, time and work, all right. Percentage related questions, which include profit and loss, simple interest, compound interest, time, speed, distance, set theory. Mensuration, of course, please remember the formula, and because you will just have to, you know, use the formula. You will just have to put in the formula in the question, and you will have to answer it. So mensuration and numbers and algebra, okay. These are the few aspects in arithmetic which you should be well versed in order to at least get, you know, 50% of the marks in mathematics, which is like around 10 marks, because every marks is going to count in this entrance examination, right? Then comes topics, a little harder topic like, you know, probability, geometry, permutation, combination. If you're a little weak at it, then you may, like, you know, practice a little less, okay? But yes, again, make sure that you're not leaving upon the practice of these sections, because you never know, you know, if by chance the question is a little easier, then maybe, like, you know, you could be able to, you know, crack it on the main day of your entrance exam, right? So keep practicing mathematics. The next section is going to be English, of course, the last section that we are going to talk here in this part. English, again, all right, should be given a time slot of around 20 to 25 minutes. That sums up the entire, you know, 120 minutes for you guys, okay, depending upon the time distribution that you guys are adopting, okay. But please remember that on an average, okay, a rough estimation of the entire 120 minutes could be divided into the 5 sections in by way of the time slot divisions that I just gave you, all right. For legal aptitude, around 30 to 35 minutes. For general knowledge, please remember, not more than 15 minutes at all, okay. For logical reasoning, again, a time slot of around 25 to 30 minutes. Then for mathematics, you have 20 to 25 minutes. Then again, the remaining 20 to 25 minutes for English. Okay, so while practicing your question papers in these 4 days that you have got in your hand, all right, please make sure that you are trying to, you know, imbibe this time division. And please know that, you know, if you're not being able to answer a question, don't keep, you know, stuck to that particular question. Don't get yourself, like, you know, stuck to that particular question until and unless, like, you know, you got the answer, because you never know, there are you know, better questions, probably there are better questions, you know, coming up later on, which is going to fetch you marks. So don't waste time. My only suggestion to you guys is that don't waste time with regards to, like, you know, question. Okay, now I would respond to few of the questions that have been asked by the attendees over here. Okay, there's this very interesting question from one of the attendees. She writes, say I am not sure of about 50 questions in the paper, okay, but can I afford to leave all 50 questions? Okay, how many questions should I attempt at least? Alright, I must tell you, alright, Nivedita, this is a question which has come from Nivedita. So Nivedita, if you're hearing me, I must tell you that, you know, I am sure if you have practiced even, like, you know, moderately, alright, there will be no such section wherein all 50 questions appear to be, you know, alien to you. And 50 questions are asked only in legal aptitude and general knowledge. I am sure in general knowledge also, legal aptitude, I'm pretty sure that, you know, it will not be so that, you know, all 50 questions are, like, you know, completely alien questions for you. Even in general knowledge, all right, I am sure that, you know, all 50 questions are not possible. Okay. Now, say for example, even in these 50 questions, there are around 25, say 30 questions which you are not being able to attempt. Under that circumstance also, if you are unsure of the answer, absolutely, if you're absolutely unsure of the answer, then leave the question. It's always better to leave the question when you have negative marking imposed than to, like, you know, choose an incorrect answer. Try to attempt elimination method, okay, wherein, like, you know, you can eliminate the improbable answers by way of, like, you know, disconnectivity with the problem. But in case you see that, you know, the elimination method is also not going to work, even then, please leave. Okay, please leave. Please leave the questions which you are unsure of. Okay. Oh, there's a slight correction from Nivedita. I meant overall in the whole paper. Okay, Nivedita, in the entire paper, if amongst 200 questions you find that, you know, you are being able to solve only 150 and remaining you are not being able to solve, alright, like I told you, you can apply this in this particular case also, wherein you have got, you know, questions which you can make use of the elimination method. Please make use of it. But if you know that, you know, even elimination method is not going to work out in your favor, then please leave it. I hope, Nivedita, I have answered your question. All right. This is another question from Sachin Bhasin. All right, taking a risk for about 30 to 40 questions worth it. Sachin, that's going to be really a big gamble from your side, I should say, because 30 to 40 questions, if you're really unsure of, then I would rather suggest that, please don't take the risk and try to play safe. For the fact that, if 30 to 40 questions, if entire 30 to 40 question goes wrong, all right, say, luck by chance, you never know, luck is not working in your favor, because when you are, attempting it on a basis of, your luck, then under that circumstance, obviously there is a probability that the answer may also go wrong, right? Under that situation, please refrain. Don't attempt, unnecessarily, because in this entrance, you should remember, your motto should not be to attempt maximum number of questions. The motto should be to attempt maximum number of correct answers. Okay, to give maximum number of correct answers. Okay, so that is what is going to be your motto. So please keep this in mind. Okay. I have a next question which says, in few LST mock legal section has only, sorry, I think the question is framed a little weirdly. In few LST mock section, only reasoning questions have been given. However, both aptitude and reasoning, what I understand from the question of Kumar Panda over here is that, are you talking about, you will just have to rephrase your question once again, Kumar. I hope you are listening to me. Are you trying to say that, usually in a legal aptitude section you have both legal reasoning and legal knowledge? Are you trying to ask me that, in the mock test you have only found out legal reasoning questions to be given? So should you be stressing upon legal knowledge questions as well for this entrance exam? Okay. All right. If this is your question, I should say yes, absolutely. Though, you will find out that in the in the CLAT website, they have very clearly mentioned that, the legal reasoning section is going to be confined to legal reasoning, all right, pertaining to principle given to you. Then you will have a fact, and then you will have to choose the best appropriate answer in consonance to the principle. Okay, but I should mention this to you, to all those attendees who may not have been aware of the fact that, last year, that is in 2012, this was the similar notification which had come up, which had been given by the CLAT committee, all right, where they have mentioned the same thing, that, the questions are going to be confined only to the legal reasoning aspect, okay, wherein a given principle will be there, you will have the fact given, and you will have to choose the best answer. But unfortunately, on the day of the entrance examination, in the question paper, it was found out that, questions pertaining to legal knowledge were also asked. So, at that point of time, you really can't blame the CLAT committees, because the question paper is already given to you, and you will have to, write that particular question paper, to write the answers of that particular question paper to get through the college. So, definitely, you cannot take the chance this year. All right. Legal knowledge may not be asked by way of the one-word questions that you usually get in NLU Delhi, that you usually got in NLU Delhi and in Symbiosis. All right. It may not be in the form of one-word question, but it may be in the form of assertion and reasoning questions. I hope, even in the last year's question paper, if you guys have solved it already, you guys may have come across these assertion reasoning-based questions, all right, which is, again, a type form of questions that usually comes in your logical reasoning section. So such kind of questions were given in your CLAT legal aptitude section, wherein you had to decide whether the given assertion and the given reasoning are true, whether the correct reasoning is given for the assertion. I hope you guys have come across these questions, right? So there, if you're not aware of the legal knowledge, under that circumstance, it is going to be a little difficult. Okay, say for example, I'll just give you one example that I can recall. In one particular question, they had said that fundamental rights are an important part of the Constitution. Then again, they have given that directive principles of state policy is an important part of fundamental rights. Okay. Now, you should be aware of the fact that directive principle of state policy is a different part of the Constitution altogether. So it is not a part of fundamental rights. Okay. So these are the few legal knowledge aspects which, like, general legal knowledge aspects which you should be knowing while trying to solve, these assertion and reasoning kind of questions. All right. Now the example that I gave you was from a very basic level question, but there may be questions wherein, like, they would want you to be specific with regards to certain laws. Under that circumstance, you should be knowing the legal knowledge part of it, because anyways it's going to be an assertion and a reasoning base. Also, to know whether the reasoning is correct for the given assertion or not, you require legal knowledge. Alright, so even under that circumstance, you will have to apply your legal knowledge. So what I'm trying to say is that you may not get direct questions pertaining to legal knowledge, those one-word questions which you have already come across in your NLU Delhi and in Symbiosis Seva. It may not be in that form, but it may be in the form of assertion and reason. And like I told you, considering last year also was a deviation from the given nomenclature of the class pattern, so this year also we can't, like, take the risk of it. So while you're preparing, all right, I'm sure, like, even when you had prepared with us for the last few months or last 1 year, you have always been told this inside the classroom that, please do not confine yourself only to what the class pattern is suggesting on the website. Okay, so prepare yourself from the aspect of, like, legal reasoning as well as legal knowledge, because you never know where the legal knowledge, what form could be asked. Okay, Alan, I hope I have answered your question. If you have further queries to this particular question, then you may, like, re-question me. Okay, so if you're clear with the concept now, then you may respond by typing an yes. Okay, so even for legal aptitude, all right, I must tell you that it is important that, there are few chapters which you don't neglect at all. Like, say, for example, law of tort. All right, in law of tort, it is important that in law of tort, it is important that you know concepts from negligence, from nuisance, from voluntary non-foot injury is very important. All right, so you know all these while you are preparing. So in case you have not understood any concepts, it's ideal that you get your concepts and doubts cleared right away. Okay, so that is very important. And other than tort, all right, you should also be very well prepared with sections like Constitution. All right, Constitution is definitely going to have a number of questions. All right, when I say that you will not be getting one-word legal knowledge question, okay, I do not mean that you guys are not going to read and learn the articles. Okay, so it is always advisable that you guys read and learn the articles, especially from sections from the parts of the Constitution, including fundamental rights, fundamental duties, election, emergency. Okay, these are the very important aspect of the Constitution, which wherein you should be aware of the articles. Apart from the Constitution, all right, there comes criminal law. Again, criminal law concepts from murder, culpable homicide, then with regards to theft, robbery. All right, these sections are pretty important from the criminal law chapter. So you should be knowing these. However, please know one thing. All right, I may have missed out on telling you this earlier, so I'm just repeating this. In legal aptitude, all right, please read the notification once again, wherein they have mentioned it very clearly that the given proposition may be incorrect. Okay, but even if the given proposition, by proposition I mean the principle, all right, even if the principle is incorrect, a student will have to adhere to the principle. So make sure that you are attending all the aspects given in the principle while trying to answer a particular question. Okay, so it is very important that you are adhering yourself to the principal and you choose the best answer which is with respect to the principal. So do not deviate from the principal. Make sure you are reading. Now I am sure you guys have read Law of Tort, you have read concepts of negligence, nuisance, then voluntary non-fit injuria. Alright, but that doesn't indicate that the moment you read a principle, first two lines of principle you have read and you have understood this is a question of nuisance. So very happily, very conveniently, you don't read the remaining part of the principle and you go out to solve the question. This should not be your approach. Alright, even if the principle is something which you have known, which you are aware of, which you have read earlier, please make sure that you don't ignore the principle given by the CLAT committee to you in the question paper. Okay, because they may twist and turn the principle in the later half of the principle. So the best thing to do is that read the entire principle. Alright, read the entire principle, and if you know the principle already, then it's even better for the fact that it's going to be faster for you. Reading something that you know already is going to be faster, right? So read the entire principle and only then you decide what is going to be the answer pertaining to a particular question. Please do not assume the question in the fact. Alright, please read the fact carefully to understand what exactly the fact is asking you to answer. I hope I am making it very clear to all the attendees. All the attendees, I need a response over here because I have seen this, alright, in the mock test as well as in the class test that you guys tend to miss out on the entire problem by way of ignoring the question that is actually being asked. Do not think that the principle is given for negligence, so the question also is going to be pertaining to negligence. It may not be pertaining to negligence, alright. So you will have to read from the first line of the principle to the last line of the fact in order to ascertain what the principle is trying to talk and what the question is asked with respect to the particular problem in your legal aptitude section. So your approach should be that you will have to read everything from first sentence to the last sentence and only then come to a conclusion that yes, the question is this and which particular aspect I'll have to make use, which particular principle I'll have to make use, and thereafter answer accordingly. Make sure that whenever there is a multiple principle question, alright, you do not ignore any of the principle. I understand wherein you have principles more than 2 or 3 in number, you tend to get confused. That is but obvious for the fact that there are so many aspects the question is already talking about, and you don't know which aspect the question is going to be like. So under this circumstance, if you have any confusion or any doubt, there is one approach which could be used. But again, I should be telling a disclaimer to you guys. If you are not in the habit of practicing in this fashion that I'm just going to tell you, alright, then don't try to experiment at this point of time. This is too late a stage to experiment with your practice. Okay. So, in case there are multiple questions, alright, and this is just a probability, it may work for many of you, may not work for, others. So, you may make use of the strategy only during the practice session to know whether you are savvy with it. If you know you're savvy with it, then you may use it on the day of your entrance exam. In questions pertaining to multiple principles, where you have multiple principles, say one principle is of nuisance, the other principle is of, private nuisance, the other is of public nuisance, and then the last is of negligence, alright, and you have a habit of, confusing between principles, then read the fact first, alright, understand what the fact is trying to talk about, then go back to the principle and try to ascertain, which principle is going to be applicable, depending upon what the question has been asked in your question, right? So what you are going to do is you're going to check with the fact first, and then you're going to go back to the principle and try which principle is going to be applicable, all right? But this you're going to do only when you know that you are okay with this swiping of the attempt. Like earlier we always used to attempt principles, know the principle first, read the principle first, and then go to the fact. But here a role reversal may be allowed, considering you are confident that you will be okay with the role reversal. Okay, this is just a tactic in order to not to confuse yourself with multiple choice principles. Okay, wherein you have too many principles suggesting too many types of crime or tort or some such things. Again, please do not ignore the explanations. it is very important that you read the principle together with the explanation, because explanation is ideally, most of the time, in most of the cases, is a support system to the principle. So many things which are not clear in the principle may just be very clear once you read the explanation. Okay, and under that such circumstance, your best answer will be in consonance to both principle and the explanation. Okay, I hope I am making it pretty clear to all the attendees over here. I hope you guys are being able to connect to what I'm trying to say. Please give me a quick response. In the meantime, I'm going to just go to a few other questions. Okay. Okay, I have questions from students like, alright, there's this question from a student. Okay, I am getting around 95 in my CLAT mock test. Do I have any chance of getting into CLAT? I can understand your anxiety, but yes, mock test definitely lets you know how much well prepared you are. But my suggestion to you is that 95 is a decent score. I wouldn't say that it's a very good score, but it's a decent score considering what I have told you about the cutoff it was like last year and what we are apprehending this year. This year we are apprehending that the cutoff range would go a little lower than what it was last year, considering negative marking has been introduced. So under this circumstance, I would only suggest you still have 4 to 5 days. Alright, give ample number of take ample number of tests. Alright, maybe you could be taking 2 to 3 tests maximum in a day to ascertain how much of improvement you are doing. Alright, but try to make it around 100 to 115, under 110 to 115 would be the ideal score in the mock tests. Alright, but even if it is 95 now, there is nothing to panic. Alright, don't panic, because see, every entrance every day of your test is going to be a different day, is going to be a new day. So you really don't know that in what mind frame you are giving a particular test. Excuse me. So it is very important that you understand your potential, alright, and make use of the potential on the day of your exam. Just because you have got 95 like I told you is a good score, so there is nothing to be demoralized, but your aim should always be to increase your marks, by a leap of around 20 to 25 marks. Okay, so that should be your target. I hope Sakshi, I have answered your query. Okay. Now, let's go to the next question. Okay. Next question over here is from Nivedita. She says, are we expected to use our previous knowledge of the principle, or strictly stick to the one given in the problem? I'm so sorry, excuse me. Alright. Nivedita, according to the CLAT pattern that has been suggested in the CLAT website, you are supposed to strictly abide by the principle, okay, wherein the principle is given and you have the options. I mean, you have the liberty of choosing your answer from the principle. Under that circumstance, your principle is going to be the only guiding light, even if, like I told you, in the CLAT website, they have very clearly notified that even if the principle is given in the question paper, the principle given in the question paper is incorrect, and you can know, you can decipher that very easily, that it's an incorrect proposition given. Even then, you will have to abide only by the principle. So make sure that you make use of this information given by the CLAT committee on the day of your entrance exam also. There is a difference between NLU Delhi and CLAT, like you guys must be aware. So NLU Delhi had a different pattern wherein they wouldn't mind you using your previous knowledge, but in CLAT, since the notification says very clearly that you will have to adhere to the principle, in questions wherein the principle is not there, in case like last year there were surprises, in case this year also you encounter such kind of surprise wherein there is no principle given, obviously it's it's pretty evident that you will have to use your prior legal knowledge. Okay, and also from questions like assertions and reasoning based questions, you will have to use your legal knowledge legal knowledge that you have acquired through reading these LST books. Okay, so I hope Nivedita, I have answered your question. Yes, here I have got a very interesting question from Siddhant. Siddhant says that what should be the standard time for solving a single principal fact question? Alright, Siddhant, I should be telling you this, that you must be seeing this on the whiteboard which we have put up on this particular web page. The legal aptitude section will have to be solved within a time frame of around 30 to 35 minutes. If that is the time frame that I suggest you, then under this circumstance, 50 questions within a span of 30 to 35 minutes means that for each question you will have approximately around 36 to 40 seconds, right? If that is so, you should understand that multiple choice questions are also to be solved within that time frame. So for single principle fact based questions, you should not be taking more than a maximum of 35 seconds. Alright, so that should be the time frame, alright, because you'll have to keep this in mind that 30 to 35 minutes is the maximum time that you can give for your legal aptitude section. Okay, because as you see that you have got negative marking this year, you cannot take any other section very lightly. Say for example GK, हाँ ठीक है, आएगा तो आएगा, नहीं आएगा तो नहीं आएगा, I am just going to mark it. You can't do that, right? So even for GK you will have to give around 15 minutes, which we usually have suggested to be 10 minutes, all right, but this time you will have to be careful with each of these sections. Okay, so I hope I have answered Siddhant's question as well. Okay, now going to the next question. All right, I just have a request, small request. Let us just undertake the strategy section first, alright? And thereafter, once we are through with the strategy, then you guys may, let me know your mock test marks and then whatever doubts you have got pertaining to your mock test marks, alright? So, Mohit and there are a few other students, alright? I hope that, after we are through with the analysis of the, discussing the strategy of attempt of the section, then we can go about with the mock test marks. Okay. Just give me a second. Okay. All right. Sanyam, we are going to go to the GK section as well. Let us just finish up with legal aptitude and then we'll go to the other sections also. I would request all the attendees over here, any question pertaining to solving legal aptitude first, please, we'll go section wise, so don't worry, we are going to attempt all the section with respect to how you're going to prepare, but this is only pertaining to legal aptitude first, alright? Any further questions with regards to attempt of legal aptitude section, please ask me right at this point of time and then we shall go to the next section. Okay. So I hope there are no further questions pertaining to the legal aptitude section at this point of time. Oh, what would be the ideal score for legal aptitude? All right. See, again, Alan, I would say that, this is something which is very, very subjective from the point of view of, your entrance exam. So, we'll be able to say that only after your entrance exam for CLAT is over that, what could be the ideal score for legal aptitude. But right at this point of time, score as high as possible, in all these practice papers, because that is going to give you the real boost, alright, with respect to the preparation. And it is very important right at this point of time that you build up on your confidence, alright. So, work on aspects, work on sections of legal aptitude where you are not too strong. I believe constitutional law is one such section which I have mostly found out that, it becomes a little difficult for students to remember the articles or even to remember concepts at times. So work on constitutional law. so that the constitution law is not posing any problem. Work on concepts of contract, all right. It is very important because these are the few sections from where you will definitely get questions. Okay, so do not ignore constitution, do not ignore contracts, all right. Do not ignore tort, especially concepts from nuisance, negligence, voluntary non-fit injuria, res ipsa loquitur, all right. So these legal maxims, all right, from torts you guys should be aware of, because if in a question they are not explaining any further and is just giving you the legal maxim, all right, as a principle, then you should be knowing what the legal maxim is talking about. It may be information is given in the explanation, but in case explanation is not given, it is advisable that you know what the legal maxims are talking about. Okay. And thereafter, criminal law is also important from the aspect of questions being asked from theft, robbery, all right, murder, then a culpable homicide. Okay, so these concepts you should be knowing well. However, international law, family law, and other aspects of general principles of law are usually lesser in number. So though every marks is going to count, I would suggest that do not ignore any of the sections right at this point of time, but emphasize more on these topics, the important topics that I just mentioned: tort, constitution, criminal law, contract. All right, these are going to be the most major important chunk from the point of view of your legal aptitude preparation. So at this point of time, including negative marking, all right, try to score as much as possible. All right, 35 above is a very good score. All right, if in the mock test, you guys must be getting the breakup of your mock test, wherein you are able to understand how much you have scored in each of these sections. All right, 30 above scores are commendable. All right, so if you are doing good in your mock test with a score of around 30 above, all right, know that your legal aptitude preparation is going good. But that doesn't mean that you are going to stop practicing legal aptitude. All right, so please do not take the privilege of scoring good marks now and ignoring the practice part for the main entrance. So keep practicing legal aptitude section. And like I told you, legal aptitude is acting as a tiebreaker, so you should be very careful with the score of legal aptitude, because if two students are scoring the same marks, all right, same total marks, then the first criteria of the tiebreaker is going to be from the point of view of the score of your legal aptitude. So please take legal aptitude seriously. I know most of the students have been pretty confident in legal aptitude, but that do not indicate that you are going to take it lightly from now on. All right, till the day of your entrance exam, legal aptitude should be paid attention to. Okay. Any further questions from legal aptitude? Else we are going to go to the next section. All right, I am getting many questions from English and other logical reasoning sections, so we'll just go to the next section. All right, a quick response from all of you, please, so that we can get done with legal aptitude and we can just go to the next section. All right, okay. Now let's go to general knowledge. All right, general knowledge is one particular section, all right, which I am sure you guys are aware that it is no fixed syllabus prescribed for it. It does not have any fixed syllabus, and it is anything under the sun. It is actually anything under the sun. So prepare and read as much as possible, but I know that the time is really less to prepare anything new at this point of time. But yes, for general knowledge, please go through the general knowledge database that you have in your MyLST account, all right, for for current affairs, all right, because again this is a combination of current affairs and static knowledge. Just because for the last two entrance examinations static general knowledge had been predominant, please do not assume that in this exam also static knowledge is going to be predominant. All right, you never know. So you cannot ignore your the current affairs section. So make sure that you are reading the current affairs section thoroughly from the database of the general knowledge section in your MyLST account. Okay. And obviously read through the general knowledge book. Okay, that has been provided by LST. And if you are referring to any other reference books like Manorama Yearbook or like Pratiyogita Darpan and any reference book of some such, please make sure that you have completed revision with all these material by Friday. Because beyond Friday, there is no point redoing on general knowledge, all right? Instead, I would suggest that, practice a little bit more on maths, spend a little bit more time on maths from Thursday onwards, because you cannot be neglecting maths. Time and again, I'm saying this, so please, keep this in mind. You cannot be neglecting maths, okay? So, general knowledge, I hope, you guys by now must have understood that, this is how your approach should be, okay? So next, okay, there are certain questions pertaining to the legal section once again, maxims. Okay, I'm sorry I have not been able to follow this question given by Kumar Panda with regards to legal terms and maxims. Are you trying to ask me whether you should be knowing legal terms and maxims? Kumar Panda, if you are listening to me at this point of time, it would be really helpful if you are rephrasing your question and sending me once again. Okay? Alright. So, general knowledge, I hope that you guys have understood. Any further questions from how to attempt general knowledge section or what to be done at this point of time from preparation point of view in general knowledge? Please put it up fast. Alright, this is a request to all the attendees. In case you have got any question with respect to the preparation of general knowledge section for this CLAT entrance exam, upcoming CLAT entrance exam, please put it for in this chat box. Do we stress upon current affairs or static GK? Kudrat, this is really going to be a very dicey question for me to answer, because you really never know, alright? See, current affairs is something which still we can say that has got a defined limitation, alright? But static GK is something which has got no limitation at all. You never know what type of a question, whether it's going to be a question from geography or history or civics, or it could also be from any monument or whatever it is, alright? So it is a very wide range. So at this point of time, what the approach should be that, take the general knowledge database that you have, take the general knowledge capsules that have been given, alright, in my LST account, revise, go through them, read through them, revise it, alright. If you have been maintaining a database of general knowledge questions yourself, then the best thing is to go through those particular, materials. At this point of time, you should more stress upon, revising on the general knowledge aspect of what you have already learned or you have already acquired knowledge with respect to any static affairs or static GK or current affairs, because the more you try to overload your brain with new topics of general knowledge, it may become a little difficult for you to concentrate on something that you have already learned earlier. So try to give a balance to both current affairs and static GK. The best thing is to revise more of the general knowledge section now. So read through, the database of the GK given to you in your MyLST account. Read through the book, all right. And yes, I would also want to mention this. Okay, certain information in the general knowledge book have been found of 2000 of a previous year. So in that case, please update yourself. Alright, I am sure by now you must have done that already. So please keep updating yourself with respect to any information that you find to be a little backdated in nature. Okay, so that is something which I believe is going to help you out, Kudrat. So Kudrat, if I have answered your question, and if you do not have any further question, then please let me know, then we shall proceed further. Okay, so alright. So now this is with respect to the logical reasoning section now, alright. Logical reasoning, again, like I told you, alright, 25 to 30 minutes maximum is the time limit that you could be allotting to yourself to do logical reasoning, okay. So In the logical reasoning section, again, I should mention that there are certain aspects, okay, which are important, like family tree, questions pertaining to blood relation, questions pertaining to direction. Coding and decoding again is important, all right. Calendar, clock, all right. So from these sections you can expect questions, okay. Family tree, blood relation, definitely have some 2 to 3 questions would definitely be asked. Direction, again another 2 to 3 questions. Coding, decoding, another 3 to 4 questions. Calendar, again 2 to 3 questions. Clock, maybe 1 to 2 questions, okay. Cubes and dices is something which you may relax a little bit on it while preparing. So even if you're not stressing too high on cubes and dices, it's okay, but that doesn't mean you're not going to prepare at all right. So if you're in case a little weak in the logical reasoning section, then maybe you can strengthen your logical reasoning section by preparing more of questions from blood relation, from direction, from coding, decoding, from calendar, clocks, cubes and dices. Cubes and dices could definitely be given a later priority. So the first priority should be sections which I just mentioned, okay. In verbal logic also, cause and effect, all right, is questions pertaining to cause and effect. Idioms and phrases also, again I would suggest please do not waste your time on the cause and effect questions if you're not being able to apprehend the question, because there you tend to make maximum number of mistakes. And like I told you, this exam is not just about giving the attempting the answer questions, but this is more about attempting correct questions. So this is something which you should keep in mind, okay. So I think please keep a tab on the whiteboard as well, because I will mention a few important points from logical reasoning. Family tree. If you are having something to note down, you may note it down. Family tree, blood relations, okay. Then directions, coding and decoding, calendar, clock, okay. These are important aspects from the point of view of your logical reasoning section, okay. Cause and effect again is important, but you should be pretty sure of the questions from cause and effect. You should practice it pretty hard, alright, because you tend to make maximum mistakes over there. Thereafter, let's go to the last section, that is English. Okay, let me just get back to you guys once again. Do you guys have any pertinent questions from this section, logical reasoning? Please put forth your question in case you have got any question, any doubts. Okay, I just see another question from Srijoy Bhattacharya. This is with respect to legal aptitude. Alright, she writes, if a legal aptitude question is based on a well-known case, then should we concentrate on the principle or go with our knowledge of the case? No. You should never confine yourself with whatever knowledge you have. Here, like I told you, the CLAT website, please check the CLAT website. This is an earnest request to all of you appearing for CLAT entrance examination. Please check the website, the notification given on the website, especially the notification pertaining to the legal aptitude section, where they have very, very clearly mentioned that legal aptitude section will only have to be attempted from the point of view of the given principle. So even if the principle is incorrect, they expect you to answer from the point of view of the given principle in the question paper only. So even if a case, Srijoy, please make sure you pay attention to this. Even if question is pertaining to a very famous case law, alright, you will have to confine yourself with the principle. Even if a question is pertaining to Bhopal gas tragedy, which has been a concept of absolute liability, and they are giving you the principle with regards to the strict liability, please make sure you stick only to the principle and answer the question from the point of view of the strict liability principle which is given in the question. Srijoy, I hope I have been able to make it clear to you. Please respond to me. In case you have got any further query, if you have not understood it, please make sure you're writing it down in the chat box. Okay. All right. This is again from Srijoy. Problems like statement, assumptions, and conclusion, etc. are my weak point. Should I try to avoid the whole section, or should I try it? It's risky if I am trying them. Alright, Srijoy, like I told you, if you're unsure of a particular question, so much so that even if elimination method is not helping you out, okay, under that circumstance, please make sure that you are not attempting the question, because even if you're attempting out of 150 question, even if you're attempting 100, out of 200 question, even if you're attempting 150 question, and if you're sure of those 150 questions, it's a much better scope for you than attempting 150 and attempting by guesswork another 40 and then getting all of them incorrect. Okay, so which means 10 marks is going to be deducted. So please make sure that you don't make such kind of mistakes. Srijoy, I hope you have understood what I'm trying to say. So please respond if you have any further questions. Okay. Moving on to the next section, English. Alright, I have a genuine concern from one of the friends over here as attendees who is saying that, is weak in English. Okay. Can I improve it at this point of time? Alright, don't worry. Alright. I can understand, there will be weak points in any of the sections that you have, alright, all 5 sections. It cannot be that, you will be all well prepared with all the 5 sections. So there will be weak points, but the section which is a little weak, alright, like you mentioned over here, English, alright, see how much of an effort you could give to improve on it from the point of view that learn a little more of grammar at this point of time. Grammar is something which you can grasp in 2 days time, alright. Spelling, alright, try to make sure that you are reading newspapers every day, at least for another 4 days you are reading as many number of newspaper and articles and such kind of reading materials possible, because by this you will be able to learn spellings and try to multitask in the sense that if you are reading a spelling, try to know the antonyms and synonyms for that particular word, alright, so that with one aspect of preparation you are actually being able to cover up all the other aspects at the same time. Alright, from one direction of the preparation, let's say for example, if you are trying to take a word and you are trying to learn the spelling for it, say for example the word ambiguous. If you are trying to learn the spelling for ambiguous, please make sure that you know the antonyms of ambiguous, you know the meaning of ambiguous, you know the synonyms of ambiguous, so that you have a holistic approach towards that particular word. Okay. Brush through your grammar, alright, brush through prepositions, articles and such kind of aspects of grammar which will help you to in sentence correction. Okay, so this is one thing. Idiom phrases again, alright, try to learn certain idioms and phrases from your English book given in the LST modules. Okay, so that could be some help. So there are ample number of time and ample number of areas wherein you can make improvements in 2 to 3 days time span. So don't worry, alright. Just keep faith in yourself and pick out easier aspects, alright, wherein you could improve on. Alright, say this is also with respect to RC, alright. I have seen students who have got aversion towards RCs, and their first approach is to leave RCs or to keep RCs in the last. Okay, I don't think this approach is really a very good approach, for the fact that in these entrance examination wherein you have such time crunch, leaving anything to be done at the end is not a very good idea. Okay, you can choose the sequence of the section of what I mean to say is that you can choose the a sequence of attempt of the section, as in, like, you may choose whether you want to do legal aptitude first or logical reasoning first or English in the beginning. That is something you may choose. But once you're attempting a particular section, say if you're attempting legal aptitude, make sure that you are answering all question number 1 to question number 50 of legal aptitude, and only then you are going to the next section. Because the moment you tend to keep space in between in the OMR sheet, again when you come back it tends to be a little more confusing. I would rather suggest, do not use your alertness in trying to decipher which question and which number of answer you are supposed to shade it once you're going back to the question. Instead, make sure that you attempt from question number 1 and go to question number 50 in legal aptitude, and thereafter change the section. Because if you keep on jumping between sections, okay, say you do first 5 questions of legal aptitude and then you feel that okay, fine, I am losing out on my confidence, let me go to logical reasoning, then again 10 questions from logical reasoning, then again you're panicked, you go to another section. This way what you're going to do is you're really going to lose out on the tandem of the answer sequence. So don't do that. The best option is take a particular section in which you are more confident, alright, attempt that section first and thereafter go to the next section. Don't keep space in between. It's okay not to answer all the questions, especially when you have negative marking, because the moment you tend to attempt all the questions, you will make mistakes, and the penalty is definitely going to be high. 0.25. It may sound little meager but then please, the value of every 0.25 in entrance examinations, right? So do not jump between sections, okay? Take a section and complete it and then go to the next section. Okay, there is another question over here with regards to maths. Alright, with maths, again, I would mention, alright, to those students who have joined our session a little late, mathematics, alright, arithmetic part of the quantitative ability section should be thorough with you. Alright, please make sure you have concepts of ratio and proportion, percentage, profit and loss, simple interest, compound interest, time, speed, distance, set theory, and these questions, practice properly. Okay, I would rather please make a note of the whiteboard as well. I think I would rather write it down. Arithmetic is important. Okay, from the arithmetic section, make sure that you have questions on ratio, okay, then percentage, okay, then time, speed, distance, set theory, okay. These sections should be prepared properly by you. Mensuration, alright, mensuration, know to learn the formulas by heart, alright. So this is going to be entirely on the basis of application of formula. So concentrate more on these arithmetic part of the mathematics. This is to Aishwarya and all the other students who have shown a concern with regards to maths. Aishwarya, I hope that makes it a little easy for you. Alright, so keep preparing the arithmetic section. And in case you have got further problems, please contact the faculty who is teaching you mathematics, and take as many number of extra classes as required. But don't panic, all right? Don't panic, because the more nervous you get, you tend to screw up your exam. So don't do that. Don't get panicked. Okay. This is again a question from Alankrit. I left all the questions of English and scored 75 in my mock test. Positive, I was left with 25 minutes to spare. Is my speed and score is well enough? I'm sorry, Alankrit, I have not been able to follow you properly. You left all the questions of English, is it? And you scored 75 in the mock test. I mean, English went unattempted you, and no, sorry, that's not going to be a very good practice in your CLAT entrance exam. Don't try to do that. That is going to be really, adverse for you. So please don't try to leave the section completely. Instead, I told you in English, try to learn aspects like spelling, punctuation, grammar. These are things which you can do in a time frame of 2 days time. So work on grammar, work on spellings, work on the prepositions, articles, punctuations. Okay, these are going to make things a little easier for you. Okay, idioms and phrases again. In case you have not been able to learn the idioms and phrases properly, at least what you can do is you can make use of the elimination method. All right. So make use of elimination method as much as possible. All right, wherever possible, because that gives you an answer in certainty. You know that by elimination method, whatever you are attempting will definitely fetch you a good answer. But then, if you have confusions in over two options, and you're not being able to decide for yourself, even by way of elimination method, please make sure you are leaving that question unattempted. Alankrit, I hope I have answered your question. This is with regards to another question. The vocab part asked is as hard as the practice exercises in the... Is the vocab part asked is as hard as the practice exercises in the LST module? Siddhant, it may be of that standards, or it could also be of a little lesser standard. That clearly indicates that whatever vocab section you have been given in your LST practice exercises, please make sure you're doing them thoroughly. All right, the vocab part from the practice exercises, from your class work module, from your mock tests, and from previous year's question paper. If you're doing all these combined together during your preparatory phase, I'm sure in the exam you will not have much of a problem. So Siddhant, I hope I have answered your question. Okay, now let me see. All right, okay. Any further questions pertaining to the sections which we have already discussed? All right, guys. If you have any further questions, please let me know about it. All right. Here I have another question. Any suggestions on how to solve RCs in English? All right. Like I told you, do not leave RCs to be done at the end. You should do RC, all right, while you are attempting the English section. Okay. So make sure that you do not make use of this practice of doing RCs at the last, because RC, if you're doing it at the last, is a maximum probability of making confusion. RCs could be attempted in a manner wherein you're just glance through the RC once, and then after you are glancing through the RC, you may just go back to the questions, okay, the questions which are given to you in the question paper, and then get back to the particular part of the RC which is confining to the question. Okay, so what you can do is just glance through the RC first, and while you are glancing through the RC, make use of the time, underline the important words that you feel, underline important aspects of the reading passage that is given to you, and thereafter go to the question. All right, go to the question, and if you think that glancing through the passage is really going to take a little too much of a time for you, then go directly to the question, check out the question, and then come back to the RC, and then try to attempt the corresponding part of the passage which is talking about the question. So that could be a method adopted. Okay. Here I see another question with respect to any specific pattern to attempt the paper with respect to different sections. Okay, this is a very personal question, I should rather say, for the fact that every person have got their strong points and weak points. Okay, so I believe personally the best way to attempt a paper is target the strong point first. Okay, say amongst all the 5 sections, if you think you are good at legal aptitude, start with legal aptitude, then go to a little relaxing section or less time consuming section, so that you are confident that within a time span of 1 hour you have already done 2 to 3 sections. So after legal aptitude you may go to general knowledge straight away. After general knowledge you may take up English, then logical reasoning, then maths, or it could also be dependent upon maths being done after logical reasoning and then English. It depends actually. What I would say is that identify your strong points, alright, identify your strong sections, try to attempt the stronger sections first, and then go to the weaker section. The stronger sections will definitely let you know that and this also helps you to give a rough estimation as to how much better you will have to do in the following sections, because once your stronger sections are over, you know that how much you have attempted and how much you have already been able to deliver in the answer sheet. Thereafter, the weaker sections, you know that how much better you will have to go about in answering. So if you ask me a one-stop methodology with regards to attempt of the paper sequence-wise, I may suggest you legal aptitude, considering it is going to be one of the most important sections for the reasons that it acts as a tiebreaker. Then you may go to general knowledge, so that within a span of 50 minutes you are aware that you are through with 2 sections. Then you can go to English, alright, making it a little more convenient for you, that 1 hour 10 minutes and you are through with 3 sections. Then you can give a break by taking mathematics, alright. If you're weak in mathematics, keep mathematics at the end, and after English you can take logical reasoning and thereafter mathematics. So I hope I have answered your question. So in case you have got any Sanyam, this is the Sanyam. Sanyam, in case you have any queries pertaining to the sequence that I just suggested, then you may just put up a question. Okay, this is again another question. Are we not supposed to work out next to our questions? It's written in the admit card that rough work should be done only in the space provided in the question paper. Writing anywhere else in the booklet may result rejection. When the question paper specifies that you are supposed to make use of only the rough work space which is given at the end of the question paper, please adhere to it, because anyways in the question paper if you are scribbling, it may be difficult for you only to apprehend the question if you are coming to the question, comprehend the question if you are coming back to the question. Alright, so you better keep your question paper clean and make use of the space which is given at the end of the question paper as your rough work sheet. Okay, so I hope, Aishwarya, your question is also answered over here. Okay. with regards to para-jumbles, I have a question. What should I do with regards to para-jumbles? Okay, with para-jumbles, wherein you have got, statements given, all right, and you have to, set up the order of the statements, all right, in sequence. Under that circumstance, the trick could be that know that a sentence is not going to begin abruptly. Okay, so a better methodology could be go directly to the answers. Okay, options. I mean, A, B, C, D जो options रहते हैं, go directly to the options. Okay, therein try to figure out the sequence that they have given in the answers, and put the sequence in your question and try to solve it. But yes, again, that requires a lot of practice. So Srijoy, in case you haven't practiced it in the fashion that I'm asking you, then you don't adopt it. All right. But it becomes easier when you're trying to go to the answer options, and then because you will anyways have to choose one amongst the options given to you, right? So go to the answer options, A, B, C, D, all the 4 options. You try to put the sequencing of the sentences and try to figure out which is suiting best. So Srijoy, I hope that suffices. Yes, skim and scan is Sanyam is exactly what I told you, by way of scanning through the RC first and then going back to the question. Yes, of course, that will do for RCs, because that's the shortest way by which an RC could be attempted. The skim and scan method really works. Para-jumbles, Srijoy, you asked me, is it... Srijoy, you will just have to repeat the question. Should I leave them for the end of the English section? Are you trying to ask me with regards to the para-jumbles, or this is pertaining to some other aspect of English? Srijoy, I would require a response. Yeah, para-jumbles, is it? No, see, like I told you, do not leave. If question number 25 to question number 40 to question number 80 is one particular English section, please make sure that you are attempting the English section in sequence as it is given. By this I mean attempt question 40 first, then 41, and then go to 80. Because as and when you do, you will understand whether you know the answer or you do not know the answer, right? So there is no point trying to do few parts of English and then again leave few and then again go back to it. It is only going to clear confusion in your mind. So the best possible way is that try to attempt in the sequence of the order which is given in the question paper. Like I told you, you may change the sequence of the attempt of the section, but please do not change the sequence inside a section. That creates problem. So don't keep it at last. Keep doing it in continuity. Srijoy, I hope you have understood what I'm trying to indicate by that. Okay. So any further questions? Any further questions pertaining to any sections, any of the 5 sections? Okay, now I would respond to all those questions wherein the students have given me an approximate marks, or maybe the marks of any of the mock tests, and have told me that whether it's and have asked me to suggest if that's a good marks. See, I should be telling you one thing, that your mock test marks is definitely an indicator of the level of the preparation that you have acquired as yet. But the point is that every exam has to be taken individually. All right, every entrance test has to be taken individually on the day-to-day basis. Okay, so you cannot be comparing any of your mock test results and thinking that this is how my main entrance is also going to go. The only thing that you should be doing is that you should work hard enough to improve on the marks that you are getting. Improvise on your marks, alright. Try to increase it as much as possible. Now that there are no further mock tests left, what you can do is that you can keep preparing from the previous year's question papers, or maybe other practice papers that you have collected. So keep practicing keep a time slot for yourself, all right? Maintain the time division for each of the section and keep practicing. And try to increase and make your test as better as possible. Like I told you, all those students, scoring above 100 in the mock test, you guys are doing fairly well. So keep practicing and try to improvise on your marks. Do not be overconfident at this point of time that oh, I'm scoring good marks, I'm getting good rank, so that means that yeah, I'm going to do good even in the entrance exam. Of course it is an indicator, but over your entrance. So be composed, all right? Know that you are doing good, and that only means that you are bound to do better. So keep practicing. Students who have scored less than 100 within a range of around 80 to 100, I should be telling you guys are quite capable. You guys can definitely improvise on your marks. So work on the areas. Try to identify the weak points. All right. Try to find out which sort of question poses a difficulty to you, and then accordingly clarify your doubts from the faculties. All right, the faculties are still available to help you guys. So clarify the doubts from the faculties at your respective centers, and work accordingly to better your marks. All those who have been scoring below 80, all right, my honest suggestion is that do not panic, because panic is not really going to help you. All right, understand your position. Try to estimate whether you have lacked in preparation, whether time is an issue, or try to understand what is your weakness, and try to cover it up as much as possible. Okay, but let me tell you, this is to all the students, irrespective of how much you have been getting in your mock test. Please do not panic. All right, this is definitely one of the major entrance examinations of your life, especially for all those students who are aspiring only to become lawyers. But please know that this is not the end of your life. Okay, so that pressure should not be over your head, because the moment you take that pressure, all right, you tend to lose out on marks, even on the questions, even for the questions which you are pretty aware of, which but only thing is that panic was acting in your mind, superseding your consciousness. Hence, you missed out on the question. This should not be the scenario, all right? Please don't allow nervousness to overcome your consciousness. Okay, what should be a good score in LST mock to make it to NLSIU and ALSA? Alright, let me very clear with this. Alright, every year cutoff varies. Okay, so it is very difficult to talk about good mock test scores. Okay, but like I told you, 100 above, you guys are doing good. So keep improvising on it. And NLSIU, as you know, is going to be the top 160 seats. Okay, so you can gauge it from the highest marks of a particular entrance examination to a gap of around 20 marks, and find out that whether your range of mock test marks is within the range of NLSIU and ALSA. So I believe Shipra, that makes it clear to you? Okay. Now, there are few common, test-taking strategy which I should, talk about. Preparation is all fine. You guys will be well prepared. That is but obvious for the fact that, you guys have been pretty focused and have been, under the training of LST for quite some time now. But I should definitely tell you guys that it's not just the preparation, it's also the execution of your preparation which matters a lot. Okay, so you should definitely be making sure that once you are well prepared for the entrance examination, it is important that you are composed, that you are calm on the day of your examination. Okay, these may sound a little frivolous, but trust me, these are the key aspects of success. All right, know yourself, estimate yourself very properly, know your strong points, know your weak points, know which section you do best, know which section you are a little weak. All right, and accordingly try to attempt the paper. Keep the stronger sections in the beginning and the weaker sections at the end, so that you have the confidence built and you do the stronger sections even better, keeping in view that you already are prepared for those sections. Please remember to mark the answers on your OMR sheet simultaneously. Alright, do not mark your answers on the question paper first and then at the end take your OMR sheet and try to jot down your answers. Please don't do that. That's a very, very bad practice, alright, that one can adopt in any of the entrance examination. Make sure that you are taking up a question, taking up a section and simultaneously attempting the answer on the OMR sheet. Alright, make use of a blunt pencil. Do not sharpen your pencil way too much so that it becomes difficult to shade the circle. Alright, it's convenient if you are using a little blunt pencil. Okay, so blunt pencil is advisable. Okay. Then, like I told you, please attempt the section whole. You may pick up your section of your choice, but the section should be attempted in one go. All right, do not jump between sections. Next, use elimination method wherever you find opportunity and whenever you find that it is convenient for you to make use of elimination method. Okay, in case of confusion which is not being erased even after using elimination method, do not attempt the question. Okay, because this test, you should keep it in mind, this test is not just about attempting maximum number of questions, but this is with respect to answering maximum number of correct answers. This is with respect to attempting questions wherein you are giving maximum number of correct answers, because you should always have this in mind. Every incorrect answer is going to be penalizing you for 0.25 marks. So don't let your marks go away from you, because every 0.25 marks will matter you to select the college of your choice. And rest, yes, common things. Know well your centers. Alright, keep your admit card twice before you are going for your entrance examination, so that you know which center you are supposed to report to. Alright, keep sure of the time. Alright, do not confuse between the time and estimate. If take a Google map and search for the location of your center, make sure that these things are handy to you a day in prior. So that means that by Saturday night you should know which is your center and how much time is going to take for you to go from your home to that center. So make sure that these ancillary parts, alright, are not messed up, because the moment you take it lightly to reach the center and you don't reach the center on time, you half of your mental setup to sit for this entrance examination is completely altered. So don't make such kind of mistakes. Rest, keep preparing, be relaxed. Do not mess yourself with comparisons at this point of time. It's ideal not to check into your peers' results at this point of time. But do best for yourself. That is more important. Okay, and keep practicing. All right, and wherever you are having problems, please make sure that you are putting up questions in the MyLST account so that your queries are being solved. And also for those students who are taking up the one-to-one coaching, make sure that you are asking your faculty members from respective centers to help you out in case of doubts. Make sure all your doubts are clarified before you are going for these entrance examination. This is the final call to all of you, to all the attendees. In case you have got any further doubts, all right, please put forth. All right, we have got another 5 minutes time to wrap up with this session. So in case you have got any further queries, please put it up. Else we are definitely going to sign off for the time being, and get back to you guys again on the day of your entrance exam after your entrance is through with the analysis. So any further questions? A quick response from all the attendees, please, so that I'm assured that you do not have any further questions to ask. This is a humble request to all the attendees. All right, in case you do not have any further questions.